Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so listen to my Laker video yesterday. I was bored as hell, so forgive me if I just kind of rambled yesterday and it wasn't too entertaining, because I wasn't entertained with my Laker video yesterday. I was like, Jesus Christ, bro. But I'm probably gonna do that again today, so just bear with me. Lakers. Yeah, man, feeling good about this win we had against the Denver Nuggets. I think all of us are really feeling great. I don't want to overreact, because I still think there are some things that could attack us and make us not so great, like injuries and stuff like that could really hurt us. Teams with double centers, Cleveland particularly is a team that I'm concerned about. OKC, double centers, twin 7-foot guys give us a little bit of trouble. I think, in some weird way, I think certain teams that may not be very good are constructed to attack us properly. And the one thing that I just want to throw out there that I want people to kind of give some consideration to is, of course, just like we saw in the positive way, us not be as prone to be defeated by a Denver Nugget team that executes well down the stretch, that maybe doesn't have good transition defense. Maybe certain things that we were prone to have success against may not necessarily be what you can expect to see success with now going forward, that your team is constructed differently. And so maybe we were, very successful against a team like Memphis. I don't know that you're as successful against Memphis now as maybe you were when you had AD out there terrorizing and stuff like that. Now maybe you're more susceptible to a Memphis team that has bigger players, defensive players, and multiple perimeter defenders and stuff like that. So these are the type of things that you have to wonder about when you're considering the LA Lakers and the changes that we made. We're very excited about our potential to now have success against Denver. But I need to see us against other matchups that maybe we would take for granted, that maybe now was constructed this way, may not necessarily be as successful for us going forward. So that's what I wonder about, because we really have changed the DNA of our team. And while this team has some very strong strengths, we have yet to find out what its Achilles heel is or what its weaknesses are on the basketball court. I personally believe that a lot of what's wrong with our team could be just injuries. I don't think we're easily to be defended. I think our defense has proven to be very good when we're all locked in and healthy. So I'm not really sure if we're going to find ourselves in a space where we're not so pleased with us against really anybody. But that is yet to be determined. And just like that Laker team with AD had certain strengths and weaknesses and certain matchups it could face and others that it couldn't, I'm curious to know what this Laker team constructed this way is not built to face. So I'm cautiously optimistic that we're going to be as dominant as we believe we are. But when you consider that we've only played 3 games with this team and we're 2-1 and we lost to a Utah team that we had no business losing to after beating the hell out of them in the 2 nights before, I just wonder what our DNA actually is on the negative side of things. And if we kind of have some of that already worked into our mindset, then when certain things go down, we don't lose all our faith and lose faith in our team. You just got to discover what it is that you are now. So that's really what it is. What are we now? Who are we now? Now that we find ourselves being a team that has the ability to basically be unguardable around the perimeter, 2 Hall of Fame point guard like entities that are both over 230 pounds apiece in LeBron James and Luka Doncic. What is that our team isn't so good at? That's what I'm looking to find out. And I think we're going to learn, because we're going to have some really good teams coming against us with some really good coaching staffs over the next month or so. It's going to be very clear to us just what we can expect in regards to people going up against us. And you got to understand something else. When you pick up Luka Doncic and you have LeBron James, now you're going to get everybody's best, just like the NBA champion does. As to where when we had Anthony Davis, we were able to kind of rock some teams to sleep in a way, because they feel like we were a team that got beat in the first round. And they've seen us lose to Denver a million times. They've seen us lose to Sac a million times. We didn't really instill a whole lot of fear in the hearts of teams. at the point we were before this trade, to be honest with you. They're like, oh, they see Bron and AD coming. If they play well, maybe they can beat us. If not, maybe we can beat them. But we're not looking at them like they are the team to beat. Now that we've made this trade, I think that has changed. Now that we went into Denver in altitude and stumped them out by 23 points and held them to 100 points and broke their 9-game winning streak, now I expect teams to say, okay, if we do not play our absolute best, we're going to get embarrassed. So you put a new level of difficulty on you just by bringing Luka in. You have a newfound fear of you, especially on the offensive end, just by bringing Luka in. And so that's what I'm here to tell people. I'm not certain. I ain't certain that the Los Angeles Lakers actually know who they are yet. I don't think so. We got to be very careful not to get too excited about what we just saw. Well, this team is going to have to figure itself out with certain pieces, and as certain pieces go down with injury, I hope doesn't happen, but always does. We'll see what we can live with, what we can live without. And I think as long as we have our 3 playmakers in place, we feel pretty confident that we can run up the score. But the most important pieces, in my opinion, to keeping this thing together are our defensive pieces. Because we have a plethora of riches as it pertains to playmakers. Right? Bron, AD, Luka. You don't need all 3 of them to win a lot of these regular season games we're going to be in. You need 2 of them. And you should be dominant in a lot of cases. Like literally. But if you start removing, and this is what happened in the Utah game, Gabe Vincent, Dodo, Vanderbilt, now all of a sudden you're relying upon those 3 super duper players to also do great things on the defensive end, to also make up for the energy lacking from the players that ultimately are not in place. You need those role players to play their role so that those guys can focus on being the players that they are, which is ultimately going to run the score up. But if you're trading baskets because you can't get stops and those players get in foul trouble and you don't have those defensive lineups to turn to, and now you find yourself relying upon lesser players because your value of your talent behind those 3 guys is significantly drops. Now, what you end up having is not so great roster lineups on the floor when those guys aren't out there without those defensive players. Now, when you have your defensive players, it changes things because you can afford to buy yourself more time without those triple threat guys on the floor. You can have one of them resting and then one of them sit down, bring another one in, he's fresh. Another one sit down, bring another one in, back in the game, he's fresh. It's like our superpower, as they say, remains on the floor. But the stuff, the engine that makes this team move at this point are your defensive players. That's the engine that makes it move. Your super atomic weapon is great, but you do not want your super atomic weapon to be responsible for also powering the engine to go. And so that's what I'm here to tell all of you. That's what I see in my mind's eye when I think about the Los Angeles Lakers. It's a team that so long as the stuff that keeps it together is in place, the role guys, it's going to be able to power pass a lot of people. But if you remove those role guys, you're asking those who are super to do things that they're not so super at doing. And that can be a problematic thing for you. And so that's ultimately what I learned from the Utah game. The second one, to be exact. Now, maybe you can still power pass people because Bron, AD, and Austin go for 90 points and like 30 assists. And you're like, okay, well, we got enough production to probably make this a close game and probably have the players to put them out of the game. But even so, how many times can you get away with that? You're going to wear them down with these four games and 5 nights type of schedule. It becomes a situation where Bron's going to have to sit one of them games. Luka's going to have to sit one of them games. They're going to put a lot of pressure on Austin to be a Superman in those situations, especially without his role players. He's going to have to be Superman to win some of these games. And he's getting the best out of these teams that are coming against him. So it's going to be challenging. It's going to be very tough, man. And I think the Laker fans should be prepared for both extreme success and some unfortunate letdown potential at times. Because this team is not designed to be able to truly survive without some role guys. Without role guys who do the dirty work, etc. And that's why I've become a big fan of Jordan Goodwin. Jordan Goodwin is one of my favorite players on this new Laker roster. He is such an important piece because he's a quick enough, smaller defender with ridiculously long arms. So those metrics allow for him to get to 50-50 balls rather easily. Those metrics allow for him to be quicker to a lot of things than a lot of guys his size. So he's quick enough to keep up with him because he's their size, but once it's time to win a jump ball, he's beaten. And so these are the type of things that I think are so very essential. And with his motor being as high as it is, that's one of the most important pieces off our bench from here on out. And so I want the Lakers to call him up from that two-way, get him a regular role spot on this team, and continue to deploy him as desired, because this is a very important piece. You can't teach the length of his arms. You can't teach that. And so that's why I'm here to say he is such an important piece. I've been so very impressed with his effort. I've been impressed with his just overall ability. I've been impressed with his shot making, which has been really, really much of a heaven sent when you consider you could trust him in the corner with the shot clock running out. I don't know if that's something he's going to be able to do consistently or not, but early on he's shown us that he can do it. So for me, it's like, yo, this Jordan Goodwin dude is something else, man. We just kind of pulled him out the hat. Like, this is a real role player, man. This is a really important type of energetic, super freak kind of athlete dude for yourself. Playing through a broken face of some sort, like playing harder, you know. As I pointed out a couple games ago, he was playing so hard in garbage time minutes and looked so good next to Bronny James that you just had to wonder, like, yo, should he not be a part of the regular rotation? And then you start putting him down there with the stars and he hitting shots when they have to find him. It's like, yo, this guy is extremely important, man. So what we're going to do going forward. And if he keeps playing like this through the rest of the season, he's going to be essential, in my opinion, to next year, too. You got to re-sign that guy. And so for me, obviously the most important thing to do is get Luka that extension. But I think it's just as important to make sure that these role guys are on the team as well next season. The ones who are proving themselves to be very, very important. Gabe is on contract next year as an expiring contract. So we know we got him. Vando is on tap for another 3 years, so we know we got him. But Dodo is up for an extension. That's essential. That's absolutely essential. Because he, to me, is key in keeping Luka. In fact, I'm going to get Dodo signed before Luka, so that I can tell Luka, hey, we got your guy. He's staying. There ain't no chance he's not going to be on this team next year. So if you stay with him, if you stay with us, you're staying with him. You know what I mean? Like that, I think is almost as essential in keeping Luka as anything. Is making sure that his best friend on the team is on the team. So Rob Pelinka, you know, I think when you look at what we have here, obviously we want to get a center as well. I don't want to go into next season having not improved that position dramatically. But it can't be the difference to me keeping all these key role guys that do the dirty work for this trio. They can't. If it's going to sound crazy to y'all, but if I have a choice between keeping a combination of all of those guys we mentioned or getting a big-time center, I'm going to keep all them guys we mentioned. And I'll sign a guy like Clint Capella in the offseason as a free agent rather than getting Joel Embiid or something like that and then lose all of those players because that's where their money go. No, I need these role guys. I need my dirty work guys. I already have a plethora of impossible to defend offense in just the 3 players that I got right there. I don't need, to be honest with you, I really don't need too much at the center position, but somebody who's going to be sturdy, rebounding, catching lobs, maybe stretch the floor a little bit. He don't have to be that much better than Clint Capella, to be honest with you. He don't have to be that much better than Nicholas Claxton or something like that. I don't really need a superstar center. I really don't. I'm not turning one away, but if I got to pay him his superstar salary and it's going to push off some of these young role-playing Dirty Bird dudes, nah. Nope. Not at all. Or will further diminish a guy like Austin Reeves' role? Nah, don't need to do it. Not necessarily for what we're trying to do, nah. So that's where I stand at this point. I think Austin's going to be due for an extension after next year. So we already need to get ahead of that. Hopefully he'll still be willing to take these pay cuts. But at some point in time, Austin may want to cash out on a big deal, you know. I think it depends on his own preference for his career, the path he wants to take in his career. But I think he's going to be a guy that could potentially, especially within this role, if he thrives, demand $30 million a year. And if it's if people are paying too much for guys, he could probably get even more than that. Especially if we go on and win a championship. Then he becomes somebody that's almost impossible to keep if he aligns with his value in the market. So that's something I'm already trying to think about. It's a little bit of a headache considering that we could lose that piece and then LeBron retires. That could be a nightmare. But that's something the Lakers fans need to be thinking about right now. And so, yeah, it's a few things, man. It's a few things to consider when you start talking about how to keep this team together. But the good thing is a lot of the guys that ultimately make up our role situation are not overly expensive pieces. They're not guys that you got to worry about keeping at the expense of your cap. They should be affordable, in theory. I think Jackson Hayes is somebody we should probably hold on to as well. I don't imagine he's going to be, outpriced either. And I definitely want somebody to step in front of him at the center position. But his lob ability, his hyper athleticism, and his efficiency, field goal range, dunking everything, is definitely something that I think the Lakers should want on their team going forward with Luka Doncic. Whatever your vision is for Luka Doncic, you're going to want that type of piece. Even if you get somebody better than him, you still want him in place. The chemistry is already starting to be developed. And with him being a lob threat at all times, one of the more efficient lob threats at all times, still entering into his prime years with a lot of athleticism left in his body, this is a great time to have Jackson Hayes. It's a great time to have him over the next 2-3 years. So, yeah, that his piece has become more valuable since making the trade. Especially now that AD is gone. You need him a lot more, in my opinion. So that's what I'm telling everybody. We got to just continue to think about these type of things. And hopefully Rob Pelinka will have those things on his mind as well to keep what makes our team good going. I'd imagine a guy like Bronny James is going to have a role on this team at some point. They're going to probably try to push him into the league a little sooner than maybe a lot of us would prefer. I see that coming. As long as he's playing like he is in the G League, you feel great about that. But I really do think he should stay in the G League for at least another 2 years, 3 years, so that you can get the maximum out of his development. I think he should, because you consider the fact that he came out as a freshman, underdeveloped freshman, who lost a lot of his freshman college year to the heart situation. I think that it's not crazy for him to stay in the G League for multiple years with the intention of calling him up eventually. I wouldn't try to rush him in just because he's putting up big time numbers in the G just now. Let him stay down there and become a G star before calling him up, because you won't want him to be a star in your league. You're going to want to be a star for the Lakers. And since you already have him on tap for 4 years, 2 of those years could be spent investing in his development. So I would keep him down there next year too. And he is playing great, and that's exactly what we hope to see. That's exactly what you expect from him in the G. And so that's what it is. Because I can already see they're starting to say, oh, look at him play. Oh, he's always killing in the G. Yes, he is. We need to stay there, continue killing it, and continue to build his conditioning, his game, his strategy, and all the different things that are going to make him the best player he can be. We don't need to see him play half a season in the G very well and then call him up and have him sitting on the back of our bench. No, he's getting his minutes down there. Keep him where he's at Let him continue to develop. When it's time to call him up, he'll be ready to go. And so that's what I got to say about Bronny. Because I know I can see where this is headed. They want to, oh, Bronny's ready. Oh, he's going to be ready very soon. No. We want to get the most out of the young fella. We've already invested in him fully. So that means we need to continue to be invested in him. Not just playing well for a little while, but playing well all the time. And then when we need his piece, when a Gabe Vincent retires or move on or whatever, then we'll have him ready to go, experience personified, ready for the big opportunity with the LA Lakers. That's what we should be doing. Anything other than that don't make no sense to me. So that's what I want to tell y'all, man. Let's keep our head on straight as it pertains to the path for Bronny James. And don't call him up next year. Not yet. So yeah, that's a thought there. What else? Well, Bron has to make a decision. Of course, he's up for extension as well. It just depends on if he wants to stay in the league or not. If he wants to retire, he's gonna retire. He's up for extension. He's up for opt-in. The only way he shouldn't opt in my opinion, is if he wants to take less money. If he wants to take more money, he's not helping his cause. You might as well just go ahead and opt in. If you want to pay raise, just opt in, bro. If you want to take a pay cut, opt out, and let's rearrange this thing so we can afford to get more. Maybe get us a center. You know, that's what I would tell Bron. Because I don't think it's in Jeannie's best interest to increase your pay. I don't think so. Because you start getting into 41, 42, and now you give him half or a 30-year cap and he goes down. Now your ceiling around Luka goes down as it pertains to the possibility of him being able to get to a finals. A 41-year-old guy, chances of him having an injury that sends him out for the season, I'd imagine is pretty high. And we got to be honest about that. Even with him playing well. What you don't want that to be is the end of Luka's season when LeBron goes down. You want to be, in theory, able to see Luka and Austin and whatever you have around those guys still be able to reach a ceiling that a Luka Doncic team is capable of reaching. And if you give too much of your cap to one or two people around Luka, then if one of those two people go down, or both of them, Luka can't drag that to the super duper way. I was going to say Super Bowl, but you know what I'm trying to say. He can't drag that to the finals. But let's say LeBron is on a pay cut and you have good players around him. Luka the Don is still a one-man army. If you got players who could do a lot of different things, he can drag that to the finals. He did that with Dallas, with respect to Kyrie Irving. He did that to Dallas. So that's what I'm saying. Like, now our priority is making sure that both of our stars are pleased. And if we're doing the wrong thing with our cap, we could potentially alienate one of the two stars, or both of them. We don't want to do that. So I think LeBron understands that the priority is Luka. He said that himself. He seems to be all in with our franchise 10 times over, if for no other reason than we got his son here too. So if he wants to assure that his son gets championship glory, then having the franchise interests in mind is the best path toward that, in my opinion. I think the franchise is very much lockstep with Bronny being a part of the team. So it's not like we're worried about your son being traded. I think as long as you align with what's best for the franchise, you ultimately align with what's best for Bronny in the NBA. That's what I think. I'm never certain anybody can be traded, but I just don't see the Lakers moving on from Bronny. And so I think LeBron understands that. And I think if he opts out, he may be willing to take somewhat of a pay cut for his age 41 and 42 season or whatever. Like, I just think that makes a lot of sense, man. But I could also see him opting in and just playing it out, which is fair. I mean, that's what you're expecting. So I don't know, man. I don't really know. But LeBron James is $1 billion up. He's got $1.6 billion last I checked, something like that. I don't think he's hurting for money. I really don't think he's hurting for money or opportunities at big wealth. I don't think it's just so necessary that you take an extra $5-10 million or something like that. I don't think so. Salute to Kobe Minute. But you can't tell a billionaire that more money's on the table that he ain't gonna take it. I don't know. But if you got a goal, a common goal with a franchise, your willingness to sacrifice for that will determine the possibility of it being its best. And so I still think LeBron James is worth every penny. The way he's playing right now, he's playing some really great ball right now. Is it the best ball he's played in the Laker uniform? I don't think yet. I don't think so. He's done some fantastic things in our uniform, but he's up there rivaling some of his best performances of, throughout the course of these 6-7 years right now. And then, just to segue on to something else, JJ Redick is doing a really good job, man. I don't know how many coaches, both rookie coaches and veteran coaches, could continue to win throughout the process of the changes and the attention that we've been taking on. You consider the Los Angeles Lakers always got eyes on us and pressure on us to win no matter what. And you consider the injuries and the turnover on the roster since the D'Lo trade and how we've been able to win practically throughout. You shift Anthony Davis off of the team and Max Christie, our starting shooting guard, and replace him with an entirely different position, a different piece, another great superstar. And he's still winning as if those pieces weren't replaced. Like that's insane, man. If I'm being honest with you, that's absolutely insane. And the one constant is him, because the turnover on the roster with role players and stars has been nuts. It's him and LeBron and Austin essentially are the mainstays. Most of the rest of the stuff is either taking on different roles or just being moved out for different pieces. And to not drop off in winning production, I'm not sure he's not the coach of the year right now. And if the Lakers end strong, I don't think you can deny him coach of the year. I don't think you can deny him that. Just being honest with you. Just off of the strength of what he was able to do in January and February, I don't think you can deny him that. I don't see nobody doing a better job, do you? I really don't. And some of the teams at the top of the West and the top of the East, they have souped up rosters. There ain't been no changes. Cleveland's brought in what, one piece, two pieces? DeAndre Hunter, that's about it. You look at Boston. Boston didn't make no trades. You look at the teams, you want to talk about Ime Udoka in Houston, maybe. But he's trying to compete for that. Who you looking at? OKC, Daigneault? There ain't been no turnover there. He's had pretty much a steady unit all year long with the exception of their center going down, Chet Holmgren going down, and they continue to maintain the West. I give him his credit there. You know what I mean? Who's up there with it? So for me, I think it's obvious that JJ should probably be the front runner for Coach of the Year. Just for what he's done over the last 18 games, he might have just sealed that. Keeping this team winning when AD goes down and they trade him away, we still winning throughout. How many coaches can do that? As a rookie at that, I think his case for Coach of the Year is damn strong right now. Damn strong, especially after the last game against Denver. 3 games into Luka Doncic playing, and he already got these guys looking like they've been together for a year. And figured out how to overcome something that Darvin Ham told you he couldn't figure out. He conceded the idea that it just wasn't possible for him to figure out the Denver Nuggets. JJ's Coach of the Year for me right now, man. And I want to say hi to all those people that said he wasn't going to be a good coach or that he was only hired because he's a podcaster and LeBron's friend or some weird distortion of reality. And you look at what he's been doing these last 18 games, and you look at what he's been coaching these last 18 games, and you tell me there's somebody coaching better in this league right now. Tell me. And I'll call you a liar when you do. Because there's a lot of people running with that narrative, man. We know who they are. Oh, Darvin Ham did so wrong. Darvin Ham was not very good at what he did, man. And we documented that all year long last year. And the year before that. His whole tenure here was documented on this channel. I don't want to hear it from none of y'all. Go back and listen to how I reacted to all them damn games. If you need to know exactly how Darvin Ham did through my eyesight, you don't have to listen to me say anything right now. Go back and look at those videos. They're still there. Every single night, we had some critique for Darvin Ham. Every single night, we were talking about stuff he did that we thought was just flat out unreasonable and lacking in critical thought. We did everything we could to keep from calling that man stupid. You understand what I'm saying to you? I had to find creative ways to describe my frustration with his choices throughout the course of both years. We got to the Western Conference Finals. We did. We appreciated that. We got swept by a team that we just beat yesterday by 23 points. Couldn't beat them in the regular season. Couldn't beat them in the postseason. Saw them the next year. Couldn't beat them but one time in that postseason. Didn't beat them throughout the regular season that year. Like, come on, man. Come on. All you narrative pushers, and it's a few of y'all who just can't stand JJ being in place, thinking that we should be firing JJ for some weird alignment of distortion of reality because we were tired of Darvin after 2 years of how he did things. You want to give JJ 2 months because we didn't want to give Darvin 3 years. And then you want us to think that makes any damn sense at all. Come on, man. I'm not doing this with y'all. I'm not. I thank my lucky stars every day that Darvin Ham is no longer coaching my basketball club. I don't care if he was golden, white, orange. I don't care what his skin color was. The dude was not at all good for this job. And the evidence that I have of that is all there. It's all there. So that's what I want to say to all of y'all who just want to push that narrative, man. I think he could still grow to be a really good coach someday. I've seen coaches that were not that great get opportunities over time, grow to be good coaches. It's not something I'm saying Darvin isn't capable of doing. I'm not going to say that. But for me to sit here and tell y'all that he was done wrong or that we should have kept him for some reason would be me lying to all of you. I do not believe that at all. I think that they should have fired him sooner. And JJ's in place. I'm happy about that. I think he's done a few things that weren't so great, but the majority of what he's done has been fantastic. He's doing a lot of things that make sense to me a lot of the time, and when he does things that I don't like or I don't think make sense, we point it out. So don't call me somebody who's just capping for JJ and nothing like that. I ain't doing that. It's a case-by-case, day-by-day assessment, just like it was with Darvin Ham. And through 50-plus games, I'm certain that in his rookie season, he's my leading candidate for Coach of the Year. That's what I'm certain of. So let that be what we say here. That's exactly what I want y'all to hear me say out of my mouth. Things could change over the next several weeks. We got a tough stretch. Got a lot to prove during that tough stretch. So a lot can change. But it would have to in order for me to come off this hill. That's what I'm here to tell you. If we keep on the path we're on, he don't get Coach of the Year, something's wrong. So that's where I'm at with that. And I guess that's where I'm at with everything else, man. I don't know if there's anything else I want to say in regards to this basketball team. I'm just really thrilled that we were able to get a game in Denver that was demonstrative on both sides of the floor. I thought we played our best game that game. And I was extremely impressed with how good this team looked on the defensive end specifically, because that is not where I'd imagine our strength is, even though the numbers tell us it just may be. BDF 44. Thank you all for watching.